What's up, Berserkers? How's it going? I wonder why it's so. My picture's so dark. It's a little better. All right, so uh, I guess what we'll do is we'll watch this short JT Suits video while I wait to see if a couple people join and say what's up in the chat. And then I'll give you a little update on what my recruiter said because I'm supposed to be going to MEPS tomorrow. Today is Tuesday the 12th. It's 11/12/24, and I'll give you guys a little update. But we'll give some people a chance to come on and if they want to ask any questions or see what I'm saying live. So we'll watch this and then we'll get into that. I watch a lot of JT Suits videos.
What is going on? I have reports from people, boots on the ground, in boot camp. Fresh booters are reporting. The RDCs, the Recruit Division Commanders, aka drill instructors for Navy boot camp, the RDCs are making recruits drink their canteens until they
Let
throw
me
up.
know if this is too loud or too
Is
quiet.
this torture? Is this abuse? Let's hop into this video. Apparently, recruits are being made to throw up due to hydration, not properly hydrating. Now, is this true? Did this happen to me? Um, so, I went to boot camp back in 2010. The boot camp hasn't changed since I went through. I went through the fully new updated boot camp, the same boot camp that you guys go through today. Everything is exactly the same. And yes, dude, we actually did have some of my RDCs. Here's my boot camp picture up here. I have one of my RDCs, my lead, my chief. He was crazy. Child. My RDC, my leader, my chief, literally walked around with a staff with a giant stick and was twirling it around like Jackie Chan. And yes, we actually did have times where we had to hydrate and we were getting beat and we had to hydrate until somebody threw up. Now, what do we feel about this? Is this like a bad thing? Is this torture? Is this abuse? It's that was at the dog, not the kid. But yeah, back in 2010, man, this was before social media was huge. YouTube had only been around like 3 years at this point. This was before all socials are huge, and TikTok and this, that, and the third. So it was easier to get away with this kind of thing, right? But yes, this has happened to a lot of people that I know of. If people don't hydrate in a certain amount of time and drink their canteen, the RDCs will make you hydrate again. And then after that, they will beat you. Not necessarily to make you throw up, but if you just drink like, I don't know, a liter of water and then did extensive calisthenics, one would think that it might make a weaker person upchuck. But nothing's wrong. I don't think that's torture. I don't think that's abuse. I don't think that's bad. Why
I
do I
agree with
think
them.
that?
I don't think
What do I
that's
say?
abuse. Just throw up, whatever.
Dudes, we literally go in a gas chamber. We literally get tear gassed in Navy boot camp. In a freaking gas chamber, brothers. Um, Nothing's wrong with a little bit of throw up from some water and PT. No, but apparently stuff was leaked out. Somebody sent a letter to their parents saying blah blah blah. The parent then made a post on Reddit, and then people are saying, "Yo, contact the inspector general of the boot camp, or send a letter, send this, send that." That would never happen back in the day, dude. No one's. It's just like with social media and shit how it is now. People are rats. They're ratting them out. No, but realistically, like I don't really think it's that big of a deal. You guys might have different ideas. Me, I am used to doing a lot of. I was used to doing a lot of workouts like that, coming from a high school wrestling background, straight into the military. So I was doing all the workouts like with a smile on my face. They can never, I was doing everything with a smile. All the
This
push-ups,
guy's
all the
funny.
sit-ups, all the when you were getting beat.
His expressions he
But yeah, I
makes.
could imagine someone that's not in good shape easily throwing up after drinking 2 canteens of water. I think it's over exaggerated. I think they over exaggerated the story. They over exaggerated it. No one's literally like, they might threaten it as like a joke, like, throw up. We had my RDCs. They were always telling people, we're gonna make you quit, 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 quit. We don't want you in the fleet. Quit, quit, quit. They were trying to get the quitters out. So yeah, I could see that happening. But it's just funny that you're gonna call it torture or abuse or whatever. But dude, literally, we go through the gas chamber. Like, come on, dude, come on. So yeah, just some reports coming out of boot camp. Make sure you guys stay hydrated. Do you guys still get canteens, or do you get water bottles? We used to have these nasty ass green canteens. You guys probably get some like nice filtered water bottles. And then the people before me that went to boot camp in the 90s, they're like, oh bro, we didn't even have canteens. We drank out of boots. And then before them, for Vietnam, they're probably like, oh dude, you drink out of your boot. We drink out of each other's assholes. They're child made. Oh, this is the ninja sword.
I don't talk like that on my channel, as you guys know. He does a little bit crazier stuff than me.
Alright, dudes, make sure to drop a like, subscribe. Yeah.
Go check him out. He has a lot of really good videos. He has a lot of really cool information. He does Q&As and stuff like that. Oh, he used to. Oh, excuse me. He does a lot of. He used to do a lot of Q&As, and he would do some. He would go live and stuff like that. Not so much anymore. I think he's pretty much stopped and refocused on school and family and stuff like that. I think he's been out of the Navy for like 8 years or 7 years or something like that. He was doing this for a long time. He had 151 subs, 151K subs. So a lot of people agree and find his information helpful. I think he's like one of the largest Navy YouTubers. So now that we got that out of the way, I think I had one person click on the video so far. No one's watching, so whatever. I'll just do my update. So I was supposed to go to my recruiter yesterday. My recruiter, I'm not going to say his name or what recruiting station he's out of. I'm not trying to put him on blast. But he had set up an appointment for us to meet yesterday, which was Monday, which was Veterans Day. I didn't know what plans they had on Monday. The guy makes an appointment. I say, okay, I'll be there. I don't question him on it or anything like that. And he, I called him a bunch of times because I didn't hear from him. Texted him, nothing. I called their recruiting office, the phone number to the actual office, nothing. So I Googled, is the recruiting office open on Veterans Day? And the little AI response said that it's a federal holiday, so federal offices are closed. So I just assumed they were closed for Veterans Day or whatever. So today I get up. I think they start work around 9 at the recruiter. They go from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I got up, had breakfast, went for a walk, started my laundry, all the stuff I would normally do, on a Monday or whatever. But I didn't do any of that yesterday because I was on standby to go see the recruiter. So I wake up today and do my laundry, do laps, and then, it's a couple hours worth of stuff. So around like 11 o'clock or so, I called the landline instead of calling his phone because he's been kind of ghosting me. And they answer, and I ask for him by name. He comes on the phone. I say, hey, it's Jeff Hill. Oh. You know how when someone you catch someone slipping a little bit, and they kind of start to stumble when they talk, and then start spewing out information, so they try to avoid the fact that they kind of messed up. That's the vibe I was getting right there. Which I guess is good. I guess it means that's a sign that he cares a little bit, but I was kind of not getting that vibe because this is the second time that he's made an appointment and he no-showed. The first time I took my wife with me to the recruiting office, said he would be there, and he's not the boss of the recruiting station, so he gets allocated work. The person who's running the recruiting station dictates who does what and when and stuff like that, you know. So he got told to go shuttle people. You know, there's people getting recruited don't have cars and stuff like that that have to get picked up for paperwork and things. Totally understandable, right? Like we all get it. A recruiter is probably a busy person. Um, so we go. I take my wife to the recruiting station to go see if he's there because I didn't hear from him. And the two recruiters are in there besides mine. And I go to introduce my wife. Neither one of them stands up or says hello to her, acknowledges she's in the room after I'm like, hey, this is my wife, Brandy. No hello, hey, nice to meet you, nothing. Very weird, very awkward. My wife felt awkward and uncomfortable immediately after that. And then I was just like, oh yeah, I guess my recruiter forgot about me. And the lady who runs recruiting center is like, oh no, he didn't forget about you. And I'm like, is it an inconvenience that I am proactive in my recruiting process? Like you guys tell me to get something, I don't make you hunt me down. I go get it and I bring it. I don't hang out down here. I don't I don't bug you about every detail. Like if they tell me to do something, I write down the tasks I'm supposed to do. I'll make a list or I have the recruiter make me a list of what I have to do and I start checking it off. And I'll ask him, like when I was getting my paperwork, for instance, I had a lot of paperwork. And I asked him, do you want me to bring it all in at once when I get it? Or do you want me just to bring in what I have as I get it? And he's like, no, yeah, when you get something, bring it in. Cool. Roger that. Easy day. So I was doing that. I'd go get something. You know, he wasn't always there. I'd get someone else who was there to make a copy and put it in my folder. Like I didn't need him there for that. And then I just, there was a couple other times where he said he'd be there. So I went to the recruiting office and waited for him. Sometimes I waited 3 hours for him to come. No word from him. He didn't tell me what he was doing. And I guess I don't know if the lady sees that as annoying or something. But personally, I don't care. I mean, they're there to help you get in, and we're there to help them meet their numbers. Like it's a symbiotic relationship. There's no reason for them to not be polite and professional and courteous and considerate and all those things. Just like, we should be respectful of them and their time and their job and their status as well. So today I called my recruiter. He didn't call me. He saw my text messages. He admitted he saw my text messages. He, in my opinion, first thing this morning should have reached out to me and apologized and said what was going on and gave me an update. No, I had to call him and check up on him. Because some of the process is my responsibility and some of the process is your recruiter's responsibility. And I guarantee if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, they're going to be hounding you because they need you to hit their numbers. It doesn't benefit them one way or another if you go in the military or not. The only thing that helps them is that they're hitting their numbers for recruiting. So they're going to bug you because that's their job. And you have due diligence as well as a potential recruit or whatever they call the person that's getting recruited. Um, so yeah, I called him this morning. I'm like, hey, dude, this is the second time you've made an appointment that you've no call, no showed me on. Like, I said, I feel like I'm very respectful to you and you're not reciprocating the respect back. I told him about the time I took my wife, and he's a lower ranking person in there. There's nothing he can do about it. But I just told him, this process I'm going through, you only go through once typically. Very rarely some people re-enlist in a different branch and go through the process again, but for the majority, people go through this process one time. And I said, I don't want it to be a bad process. I don't want to be one of those people that says they hated their recruiter and they hated the experience and they got screwed over. I don't want to be like that. I want to say good things. I want to have a good process, and I want it to be positive and productive and be moving forward. So yeah, he apologized. He said he agreed, and he said he would do better. And when he goes to make plans with me or appointments with me, that he would make sure that he actually has that time, and that if something comes up and changes, that he would let me know. Hey man, I said, cool with me. Water under the bridge. We can move forward. It's a drop subject for me. And it is. I actually felt better when he acknowledged it. I'm not mad anymore, but the reason I'm sharing it with you guys is because you have to be your own advocate always. You train people how to treat you. Your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your boss, your coworkers, everybody, your parents, your siblings. You train people how to treat you. If people say things to you that you don't like and you let them get away with it, especially the longer you do it, the harder it is to get them to stop. So let's say you one day you don't want people to act or say a certain way, say things around you anymore, and you've had enough. And you tell them, say it's been a long time. Hey, man, I don't want to do that anymore. It's going to be hard for that person to change. It's going to be difficult. They're still going to make those mistakes. So you kind of have to say something right away. Now, I know I'm right in that fact, but something I need to work on is maybe learning how to say it in a more receptive way, because sometimes when I'm passionate about things or serious about things, I might come across as a little bit aggressive, which I don't mean to be. I don't. That's not my intent, but the perception is that way. So that is something that I do need to work on myself. Um, but yeah, so I told him how I felt. He acknowledged it, and hopefully moving forward, he honors what he told me today. So enough of that little rant. So now for an update. He said the CEO has to give me a waiver for my tattoos. I think, this tattoo on my head. I don't have anything controversial, racist, sexist, lewd, offensive. I have nothing like that. No tattoos like that. Um, so I don't think it should be a problem. He said it's about a 72-hour process for the CEO to approve it. So I did watch a recruiting video. Let me see what it's called. I'll pop it here up on the screen. Let me see. I sent it to my recruiter. So let me see what it was called, and I'll look for it here on my PC for you guys. U.S. top military leaders hold panel on 2025 recruiting. This is the video I watched. So they got the Marine, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Army recruiting leaders. I think this guy is also an Air Force guy, just by looking here. But he obviously has a different position than this guy. This guy's like the recruiter boss. Recruiter boss, recruiter boss, recruiter boss. I don't know. I think this lady might work in the Department of Defense or Pentagon or something like that. It's not 100% clear. Um, and then these are reporters and stuff, journalists. This might be like an assistant to him. She looks like she's in a Navy JAG, maybe like a Navy JAG officer or something. Um, we can even watch a little bit of this too if you guys want, but it's got some really good information for people trying to get in the military. They talk about marijuana and health issues and schooling and stuff like that. Maybe we'll watch it in a minute. It was pretty interesting. But anyways, he told me the CO has to approve a waiver for my tattoos. And then, so he said I will likely be going to MEPS next week. So, let's see. Let me look at my calendar on my phone. So today is November the 12th, 2024. So sometime between the 18th and the 22nd. But hopefully sometime this week he'll set up a date for me to go in, because I have a lot of questions. They go over what you're supposed to wear to MEPS, what you're supposed to take to MEPS, what you cannot take to MEPS and cannot wear to MEPS. Where MEPS is going to be, how long it's going to be, if you go the night before and stay in a hotel, if you just leave early in the morning and then stay in a hotel one day, or if you go there and come back and go back in the morning, because I think it's like a 2-day process usually, depending on how many people are there. So I think this time of year, not a lot of people go into the military because it's like holiday time. But yeah, we'll know for sure when I actually go. But I wanted to make this stream because I promised I was going to come on here Monday after I talked to my recruiter. I didn't talk to my recruiter, so I wanted to wait until I talked to him to see what he says before I made this video. So, like I was saying, you got to advocate for yourself. You got to stay up. You have your own due diligence that you have to stay up on things yourself. You have your own responsibility. You can't just blame it on everybody else. Um, if I had to, I would go talk to another recruiter. I don't feel like I need to, but I also at the same time do feel like I'm kind of my back's up against the wall a little bit because I'll turn 41 in December and you have to finish boot camp before you turn 42. Boot camp is 10 weeks. So if we look at this, there's 4 weeks in a month, right? So 2 months is going to be 8 weeks essentially. So I'd have to get into boot camp by like October, beginning of October at the latest. And I wouldn't be able to get held back or asthmaed or have any sort of complications at all. So you could see why I have a little bit of, urgency, because you have basically, let's say I go to MEPS, uh, what is it? You only have January, February, March, April, May, June. You have 7 or 6 or 7 months to have like a comfortable time period to actually get in. So, yep. So that's my situation. And for people who are older, like me, who are 40, 41, trying to get in, like you really have to hustle. And part of what's taking this so long is because I had to get the birth certificate for my son from the Department of State. That process took maybe 7 months, just that alone. So let's watch this for a minute. We'll kind of see. I've seen some recruiting videos with him before. He's a pretty smart guy. This is my first time seeing the other branches guys. They say some interesting stuff too. So if you're considering going in, maybe not in the Navy, but you're considering going the other one, you'll see something in here where the Marine guy talks, where one of these people asks about bonuses in 2025, because this is mostly about what they're going to do in 2025, as you can see right down here. And they all talk about bonuses, and they all say like, oh yeah, the bonuses will pretty much stay the same, and it's based on what jobs the military needs. And the Marines is like, yeah, we don't recruit and incentivize people to join with bonuses. Like, the bonus you get is you get to become a Marine. It's kind of cool that he like basically says that.
Just a moment.
If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. We'll pause it. We'll talk about it. We'll go back. Or if questions you want me to ask my recruiter, I'll ask them.
Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Major General Pat Ryder, Pentagon Press Secretary. Thanks very much for joining us for today's brief.
Major General,
Department of Defense
Press Secretary.
As you know, the U.S. military is the strongest fighting force on Earth. For more than 50 years, our all-volunteer force has been sustained by qualified patriots who stand up to serve and keep our republic secure. As Secretary of Defense Austin has said, our greatest strategic asset is our people. We must continue to recruit and retain the best that our country has to offer. The department remains deeply committed to ensuring that every qualified patriot...
Wow, it's commercial right away.
...has the opportunity to answer the call. We're fortunate to have...
Dang old Pentagon's monetizing their videos.
Services goals for fiscal year 25. Dr. Katie Helen, DoD Director of Military Accession Policy, Major General John
So, Katie Helen, Director of Military Strategy?
Patriot, has the opportunity to answer the call. We're fortunate to have with us today a panel of defense leaders to discuss today's recruiting environment and preview the service's goals for fiscal year 25. Dr. Katie Helen, DoD's Director of Military Accession Policy.
Okay.
Major General Johnny Davis, Commanding General, United States Army Recruiting Command at Fort Knox.
These are big
Major
timers.
General Christopher Amrine, Commander, Air Force Recruiting Service.
Look at the stack of ribbons this major Air Force major has. Whoa. And I think it's cool how the Army puts their ribbons on both sides. And I really like the new Army uniforms. These are the World War II throwback uniforms. So sick. The ones they had before were like blue and here, let me pull up oh, it's right here. They had these ones. Can't zoom in on it. I don't think these are as cool as the ones they have now, which are like the World War II throwbacks. These are so sick, you guys. And what they do, they put their, I guess, someone told me on their right side, but I don't know if they meant this right side that you're looking at or this right side, but they said they put like the foreign ribbons on one side. Which, I'm wondering if this, yeah, I don't know. These have to be all our ribbons, right? I can't see the National Defense, like the boot camp one, because I think it's right underneath here. So maybe this, these got to be our medals. So this is probably the ones that we give, the military gives, and then these are probably the foreign ones here. Or we don't do that in the, like, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think these are so sick. These World War II uniforms. Oh, so cool. Anyways, good job, Navy or Army. I like your new uniforms a lot.
Admiral James Waters III, Commander, Navy Recruiting Command, and Major General William Bowers, Commanding General, Marine Corps Recruiting Command. As a reminder, today's briefing is on the record. I'll turn it over to each of our panelists for brief opening remarks before opening it up to Q&A. And please note, I will call on reporters and try to get to as many of you as possible. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Helen to kick things off.
Good afternoon. I am Katie Helen, the Director of Accession Policy. Thank you for inviting me to this media roundtable. And I'd like to start by expressing a special thank you to everyone over the past year, from our recruiting commanders to our recruiters to our MEPCOM personnel, who've contributed to the success of fiscal year 2024 recruiting missions following significant shortfalls during the previous years. The military service concluded fiscal year 2024 in a much improved position compared to this time last year, despite a continuously challenging and disinterested recruiting market. At the end of September, the service has enlisted just shy of 225,000 new recruits in fiscal year 2024. That's over 25.
And she's talking about all of them combined and their goal altogether. I did want to say that for some reason I've been seeing that the Navy actually did meet their goal for this year. However they did it, I don't know. That's what they say. So, but the fiscal year doesn't end in December. It ends in like September or something like that. So when I get recruited, even if I sign the delayed entry program contract like December, it'll count as a 2025 recruitment.
5,000 more than fiscal year 2023. Furthermore, the services had a 35% increase in contracts written compared to this time last year. U.S. MEPCOM saw a year-over-year increase of medical exam by 48%, and the active component started fiscal year 2025 with a 10% larger starting pool, or a delayed entry program pool, compared to this time last year. OSD and the services will continue to build off the momentum that we've gained in 2024. Nevertheless, we need to remain cautiously optimistic about the future recruiting operations as we continue to recruit in a market that has low youth propensity to serve, limited familiarity with military opportunities, a competitive labor market, and a declining eligibility among young adults. More specifically, we've observed over the last decade a growing divide between military and civilians. Data indicate that.
So they talk really fast because everybody in the room already knows about the stuff. It's not like they're teaching it, but yeah. So like only 25% of the population is actually qualified to join the military, and you know that that 25%, not all of them are trying to join. So they have people from the 75% applying, and that is costing the government money to put those people in a hotel, to feed them, and put them through MEPS to find out that they're not qualified. Some of those people can do things to become qualified, and these people here are going to talk about some programs that the military has implemented to help people. I think the Army started one. The guy's going to say what it's called and all that. They don't talk about how to get into it, but you could research it on your own. But they basically have, for lack of a better term, fat camps where they help people get into shape and become ready to go into boot camp.
That many of today's youth are not interested in military service and have many misperceptions about what life is like as a service member. Additionally, for the first time since this metric has been tracked, the majority of youth have never even considered military service as an option. That is, it's not even on the radar. This divide has been brought about by a confluence of many factors, including the shrinking military footprint and declining veteran presence across society.
So the reason that they say that they think it's shrinking, I don't think is right. They're saying that I don't know, whatever she just said is the military footprint is shrinking and the veteran presence is shrinking. No, it's politics. People don't want to join because they don't want to go fight a war. They don't agree with the politics of the country. If you guys don't know, if you guys have been under a rock, the politics in our country right now is very divided. People don't do their own research, and they don't really 100% know what people are saying or what they mean by what they say. They believe someone, and then that's it. They just stay in an echo chamber. And yeah, I try to stay out of politics too much on this channel, but yeah, there's a reason why they raise the age to dip back into people like me, people who were going to school during 9/11, who feel a certain way about terrorism and things like that, versus people now who are like free Palestine and calling Jews Zionists and stuff like that. Like it's absurd. Like, if you guys want to talk about stuff like that, we can leave it in the comments. I don't have a problem giving my opinion. I just don't want to upset anybody and try to, have information here to help people more than to argue with people. But I don't mind talking about it if you guys want to talk about it. But yeah, I think they're purposely leaving out the real reasons why people don't want to join. Sometimes you try to avoid the truth to try to make, because you don't want to tell people the real reason why you're failing sometimes and shine a light on that. So sometimes you offer up a sacrificial reason that's not really true to lessen the burden of guilt.
Young Americans now have fewer direct ties to a family member or a close friend.
Fewer direct ties to a family member or close friend that's in the military? Again, that's BS. Everybody knows somebody who knows somebody who's in the military.
Who has served in the military.
Everybody my age has a parent that was in Vietnam or Vietnam era. That's why they raise the age to our people. And younger people have big brothers who were in Operation Enduring Freedom. That's OEF. They have Operation Iraqi Freedom, OIF. People that were in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. People who, because for my generation is people who's it was Desert Storm and Vietnam is like our parents and uncles and stuff. And then my brother was in OIF and OEF. So, people younger than me are going to have parents and friends who were also in those same things. Like JT was in OEF and OIF, and he's younger than me. He has a kid, so his kid is going to know about that. So what she's saying, I'm not buying it. I don't believe it. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree with my statement.
For example, in 1990, 40% of our young adults had a parent who served. That's down to 15% today. In the past, those direct ties were key to conveying the boundless opportunities and experiences that are gained.
So, in 1990, I'm 41. I was in freshman in high school in 98. So, why is she comparing to 1990? I don't know. Compared to a little bit later, I would say I would compare to more when I was in school. So graduated 02. I would say they should be comparing to 2000, not 1990. And see how when people are arguing stuff, when they're making excuses of why things are not doing well, and they'll cherry pick a time that was maybe good. Oh yeah, well, people were more patriotic in this time or whatever. Like, you could pick when I went to school, because in, what was it, 2001 was when 9/11 happened, right? Or was it 2002 or 2001? That made a lot of people join.
From military service, and without these personal connections, we find fewer young adults are familiar with the benefits of service. Further complicating our recruiting challenges is the low number of youth who are qualified for military service. Data show
That part's true.
77% of youth between the ages of 17 and 24 are not qualified for military service.
That's not good.
Some type of waiver. This is where programs like our Medical Accession Records Pilot, or MARP, and service member prep courses have been helpful to expand the market. But we also seek to expand the market by reconnecting with young adults and their influencers on the value proposition of service. For instance, the next generation of Americans to serve should know that there has never been a better time for them to choose military service. Youth today seek a larger purpose in their lives and desire jobs where they have greater participation in decision making and can create a direct, tangible impact.
Okay, I don't think that's true. So I think people, first off, going in the military is a huge sacrifice. You're going to be poor. You're going to be away from your family. That's the two biggest sacrifices ever. When people join, it's probably because they're more poor than they would be if they went in the military. So they go in so they don't have to worry about anything. People go to prison for the same reason. Homeless people and stuff, commit crimes literally to go to prison, to have 3 square meals and a cot, to have somewhere to sleep and food in their belly. Happens all the time, you guys. So some people will go in the military for the same exact reason. They come from a really bad area. They might not have a good household they came up in, and they go in the military. Lots of people like that. I think people today, the world is getting very expensive, and people are just trying to get a job making a lot of money so they could have nice things, because you guys, we live in a materialistic world. People want to have nice cars and nice clothes and nice shoes and nice computers and nice phones, and some of that stuff you can't have when you're in the military. You can't afford it.
Military service offers all of this. Service provides new perspectives.
No, it doesn't. So you do serve a purpose in the military. I fully believe that. That's one main reason why I want to join. You are not going to be able to make decisions in the military. You get told what to do, and you follow your orders. So some stuff the military says is misleading. They're not very honest with people. And if you go on YouTube and look up people and their experiences in the military, they tell it like it is, and they're not happy, and they feel like they got lied to. To some point, like I was talking about earlier with due diligence, you have to do your own research. You need to do your own research. Choose your rate, choose your fate kind of thing. But so a lot of people are kids and they don't know this stuff.
A sense of purpose take on great responsibilities and challenge the status quo. Service
I don't think you're going to challenge status quo. You will be able to take on responsibility, and I do think serving in the military is a great purpose.
members find personal fulfillment in serving in every part of the world, responding with skills to truly make a difference.
I would feel that.
Military service has more than 250 occupations where each person will be individually challenged to reach their peak potential while providing a path to success. The military represents one of the most educated organizations in the world across all ranks. We provide our service members with competitive pay packages and benefits such as retirement savings and health care, along with unprecedented opportunities for continued education and training.
They do have some of those things. Competitive pay packages. Compared to what? I don't know. I don't know what you're comparing it to. Minimum wage, maybe? Compared to minimum wage, maybe. The military forces you to advance. If you don't advance to a certain point, they kick you out. And they have it set up to help you advance. You have to try really hard not to advance in the military. So you might advance faster in the military than you would in the civilian world. But in the civilian world, you'll probably make more money anyways, even if you don't advance. You could be a groundman, the people that work on the ground for power linemen, and make more money than almost anybody in the military. Being a grunt. No education, just hard work. And you're not going to get any. Your pay is going to stay the same all the time. Unless the union bargains it or whatever. But you're not going to get a raise. Your pay will be what it is, and it just stays at that. And you'll always make more money. In the military, you start off E1 or officer. I don't know much about officers, but they start off at E6 or whatever. Everybody in the military makes the same money. You can Google it. All E1s make the same. All E2s make the same. So I don't know what the heck they're talking about. Competitive price packages, maybe compared to entry-level worker at fast food, maybe.
We offer these things that the young adults today look for when choosing a career, but in many respects, they just don't know it. Too often, the military is falsely seen as an alternative to college or an option of last resort.
It is. It is. People will use the military to pay for college because they have tuition assistance, which pays for classes while you're in the military, which doesn't go against your GI Montgomery bill. Or you can do your 4 years and you get a GI bill that will pay for your school after you get out of the military.
We are working to reframe this narrative so that Americans understand that military service is a pathway to greater education and career opportunities while defending democracy and the freedoms we hold dear. This is why the Joint Advertising Market Research and Studies Program has launched the digital Calling Answer campaign to build familiarity and with the value proposition of military service.
So what they're doing now is they're blowing up your Instagram feed, and they put little things in there. Are you in high school? Are you 18? And you click yes or no, and then they will DM you stuff. They're doing a lot of stuff on social media now, putting really good content out too. It looks really cool.
To nest with the services, specific campaigns. Further, the department's There Tomorrow Adult Influencer Media campaign targets parents, educators, and other relevant adult influencers to build advocacy for military service. Moreover, we have collaborated with our education partners through our military enlistment data to access to LIFT students, or our medals working group with state education agencies, to develop a strategy and a plan to share military data with states in order to provide credit to public high schools for military readiness in addition to college and career readiness.
That is awesome. That is cool. If they're helping people get credits and things like that. There's some careers in the military where while you're going to your A school and C school, what's up, Toya? How's it going? Thank you for joining the stream. I did a little update earlier at the beginning of the stream on what my recruiter said, and now we're just going over some cool stuff here with these heads of recruiting and what they're going to do for people in 2025. It's pretty cool.
Readiness.
If you have any questions, let me know. We'll figure it out together.
Service agencies like AmeriCorps and Peace Corps to help amplify a message of service, because like military service, there's been a decline in propensity for national service opportunity.
Did you know if you were in Peace Corps, you can't join the military? Isn't that crazy?
So we are working a whole of government solution. While we're here to talk about recruiting efforts today, we also want to celebrate the 225
Hey, let's go.
who've enlisted in fiscal year 2020.
Nice, dude.
Through a spirit
I'm
of
glad you got your stuff. I'm glad you got your paperwork and stuff going, dude. I'm excited to see what your recruiter says.
and maintain the world's most capable military. Thank you for having me.
You should, when you talk to your recruiter, you should ask if you can come to the delayed entry program classes. They call it DEP for short. They, you probably already know what it is, but they have DEP calls or DEP meetings where people will go, and sometimes they go run and they do practice their ranks and salutes and sailors creed and all that. You should ask if you can start doing that stuff.
And thank you for your continued
I didn't do JROTC, but I wish I did, man.
department's recruiting mission.
I wish I did. I should have. No, I was in marching band, so I was really busy. I didn't have time for that because I was in marching band.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Johnny Davis, U.S. Army Recruiting Commander, and thank you, Dr. Helen, and fellow recruiting commanders for taking the time to be here. As mentioned, the U.S. Army Recruiting Command exceeded our fiscal year 2024 recruiting mission.
Army is one of the branches that doesn't have a hard time with recruiting. I think Marines as well.
With more than 55,000 future soldiers going to basic combat training. Additionally, our dedicated recruit.
Hey, G, have you seen the new Army uniforms? They're a throwback to World War II. This video is on YouTube. It's called U.S. Top Military Leaders Hold Panel on 2025 Recruiting Issues. Super awesome video. This is actually my second time watching it. The reason I'm playing is because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about this stuff. The Marines have an age cutoff that's early. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if Army was the same because they're super physical, where Air Force and Navy is not. I think that makes sense. But they do have waivers. So if you're like a super fit specimen, you know, like if you're just an animal, I think you can get waivers. But the Navy, and the guy's going to talk about it on here when they get to him, they don't like to say they lowered their standards, but they just said that they are trying to, you know, maybe they think that their standards are old-fashioned, is more what they said.
Capitalize on those momentum and surpass the
You got to be in good shape to be in the Army and the Marines.
program mission of 5,000, contracting more than 11,000 future enlistments for fiscal year 25. This is a great start and a very positive momentum. Achieving these goals helps ensure our Army has the personnel needed to meet in-strength numbers established by Congress. Just over a year ago, the fierce competition for talented Americans and the need to modernize recruiting efforts led the Secretary of the Army to announce recruiting as the Army's #1 priority and the need for recruiting transformation. In the past year, we've witnessed historic changes that generated incredible positive momentum for us in the Army. This really started in February 2024 after about a year of putting many of these initiatives together, and it hasn't slowed down. Our hardworking recruiters hold.
Oh yeah, G. So you weren't here at the beginning of the video, but I talked to my recruiter today, and he said we're just waiting for the commanding officer to give me a waiver for my tattoos. So I'll probably be going to MEPS next week instead of tomorrow or Thursday. I was supposed to be going this week, but I'm probably going to be going next week now.
Army support and transformation initiatives made our fiscal year 24 success possible. We know we are not out of the woods yet, but we remain steadfast to mission success this year and beyond. So as I look back on the past year, I think there are two main contributors to the success we're seeing. Our investment in the recruiting force and their families, and the whole of Army investment in recruiting. We know the importance of putting people first and starting this investment with.
I think these people are not aware of what makes them good recruiters, or what makes attracts people to their branch. And I think that the Army, just being hard, difficult, and their soldiers give off the impression of being really tough and strong. I think that's what attracts people to them, as well as the Marines, which is why I think they do really well. It's very honorable to be in the Army, be in the Marines. They're really tough combat arms force, you know, like they're the first ones in fighting face to face with the enemy.
Adapting our recruiter assessment and selection processes. Incorporating recruiter feedback, we also revamped training at the recruiting college and added 2 weeks to our Army recruiting course to focus on people and quality of life. Our People Week brings recruiters and their families virtually together to prepare them for the demands of life away from military installations. Our senior leaders supported recruiters with historic incentives in fiscal year 24. Recruiter incentive pay continues. Authority to promote sergeants who graduate the Army recruiting course to staff sergeant. These are all volunteers. Over 927 have been promoted. Meritoriously promote up to 150 qualified sergeants and staff sergeants to next grade, and promote fully eligible sergeants and staff sergeants who enlist 24 future soldiers to basic combat training in a 12-month period. As of today, we have 21 promotions in this category. In addition to the investment and professional development of our people, we continue to leverage our soldier referral program, where soldiers from around the globe in every formation have an opportunity to contribute to recruiting efforts. This program is a little more than 20 months old, and we've already received more than 77,000 referrals from soldiers, resulting in 5,000 contracts, and many more in the pipeline. The Army addressed the medical backlog and surged over 60 medical providers to 33 select military entrance processing stations across the country, increasing enlistments for the Army, Army Reserve, and our sister services. Our wonderful providers completed 6,000 more physicals as compared to last year.
So they're trying to ramp up the MEPS process. They have implemented pre-screening, which is something that I went through, which was pretty new for my recruiter. Because like I was saying earlier, the military has to deal with 75% of the population who's trying to get in, who is in the age that they want, that is not qualified to join because of medical, mental, legal reasons, or they call it moral. And they have to drive those people down there, put them in a hotel, feed them, and process them. So now they're doing pre-screening, which is kind of a new process, and they're talking about their difficulties with it and speeding up the process and things like that. And I just went through it, and it did take about 2 weeks for my about 2.5 weeks for my pre-screen to come back.
The Army is paving the way in other avenues for young Americans to serve. A first of its kind, life accelerating program started in 2022, the Future Soldier Prep Course. Invest in young men and women, helping them unlock their potential and achieve academic and fitness readiness for military service, with a graduation rate over 90% in both academic and physical tracks.
So some people who are qualified on paper to get in end up, they quit boot camp. There's people that try to unalive themselves at boot camp and make up excuses, and they get scared. People go and they're like, man, this is not what I thought it was going to be, and they want to get out.
With recruiting transformation marketing efforts.
So 10% of the people that go.
Fiscal year 24, our teammates at the Army Enterprise Marketing Office built upon the Be All You Can Be campaign while synchronizing marketing and advertising efforts to reach expanded audiences and connect with more prospects interested in military service. Our recruiting staff and innovation team have been hard at work to transform the enterprise's prospecting efforts and adapt to market expansion. We continue to look beyond the high school market, and in fiscal year 24 had an average enlistment age of 22 years and 4 months, and this is going up. Also, 1 out of every 5 enlistees has some college or is a college graduate. Our increased usage of digital job boards and rollout of the Go Recruit mobile app, which was a recruiter recommendation, have improved our efforts immensely. We started Recruit 360 pilot, a new AI prospecting experiment that utilizes machine learning and AI-assisted lead identification to enhance recruiter efficiency and focus on quality over quantity. So we're trying to get beyond the old days of high school lists and use AI to help us refine the lead market of our qualified applicants. Our investment in people and Army's investment in recruiting made fiscal year 24 a success. There are no words to express how proud I am of the hardworking recruiters that crushed it in every community. Compared to fiscal year 23, these young men and women increased productivity by 43%, an outstanding improvement. As we kickstart 25, we will continue to invest in the people, maintain momentum, transform the enterprise, and innovate our workforce. The Secretary announced earlier this month the Army's enlistment goal for fiscal year 25 is 61,000 future soldiers with a delayed entry program target of 10,000. Our recruiters are already kicking it in high gear in fiscal year 25, and they're doing very well right now. Again, thanks again for your time. I look forward to your questions. I'll turn it over to my good friend, Brigadier General Amrine. Of course, be all you can be.
Thank you, sir.
In the Army.
Checkout flow.
That's an old school Army saying.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm honored to speak on behalf of the Air Force Recruiting Service and provide you with an update of where the Air Force and Space Force stand as we concluded fiscal year 2024 and look to our FY25 goals. I'm proud to say that we have met our recruiting goals for FY24 across all components: the Active Duty Air Force Reserve, the Air National Guard, and the Space Force. This is an incredible achievement, particularly in today's challenging recruiting environment where we face declining youth population, lack of familiarity, and intense competition from the private sector. I want to start by expressing my sincere appreciation for all the hard work, dedication, and commitment from every member of the Air Force Recruiting Service, to include our Reserve and Guard partners who were instrumental in us achieving our Department of the Air Force.
This is the watch that I'm going to wear to boot camp.
Which got us across the line this year, but rather a broader shift in how we approach recruiting.
Oh, the chromo.
Levers such as barrier removal, incentive adjustment,
G-Shock.
increasing medical review support, and a honed focus on
Yeah, this guy was saying that too. This guy has crazy ribbons.
as we closed out this fiscal
This
year.
guy's been in for a minute.
The Department of the Air Force Headquarters, senior support from SAF-MR, half A1, Space Force S1, half SJ, SG, not to mention Secretary Kendall, General Alvin, and General Saltzman. Additionally, Air Education and Training Command Commander Lieutenant General Robinson has been a zealot on barrier.
He's got. The reason I brought up my G-Shock is because this guy's wearing one too.
Testament to our collective effort and unwavering commitment to bringing in the best and brightest talent into our Air Force and Space Force.
Looks like the Navy guy's wearing a Apple Watch.
Still hiring. We have full and part-time opportunities in more than 130 specialties, several with bonuses. We put in place new incentives and modernized outdated policies beginning in the spring of 2023.
Veterans Day.
Applicants. As of 30 September, more than 10,000 total.
Nope. I stayed home because I thought I was supposed to see my recruiter, and then he flaked on me.
Changes and incentives implemented by the Air
I stayed home all day.
Cross-functional team. By eliminating these barriers, we've optimized our recruitment.
Did you do anything on Veterans Day?
The quality and capabilities of our recruits. Some of the changes that have expanded accession opportunities attracting high-quality youth include reinstating the enlisted college loan repayment program, modifying the body composition program to the baseline DoD instruction, revising the tattoo policy, and continuing the Air Force THC pilot that does not.
I think Air Force is or was the strictest on tattoos. Like if you had one on your hand, it can't be bigger than an inch. Like my tattoo is definitely. I don't know if I've showed this to you guys. Let's see if the. I have to turn off, I think, the background. Let me see. My filter. Turn it off. Did it turn off? It did not. Turn off AI background. It's not turning off. Maybe it doesn't work when I'm using it. Oh yeah, you can't change it. Interesting. Wait, hold on. Effects off. Camera. Save. Nope. Doesn't change it. So, anyways, I think Air Force is like, this can't be bigger than an inch. This is a tattoo of my, a ship trying to get. Why won't thing show? And it has a number 64 for the ship my dad was on in Vietnam.
Disqualify high-quality
I haven't been going to the gym. I've just been doing push-ups and walking
on a follow-on test.
because I don't want to be sore when I go to MEPS.
In 2024,
So I haven't been to the gym in a couple weeks.
Resident requirement in the Air Force from 10 years to 2 years to align with DoD allowances. We also reviewed our medical policies and processes. The implementation of MHS Genesis and the Health Information Exchange complicated the medical accession process by increased workloads in reviewing potentially disqualifying conditions in applicants versus the pre-MHS Genesis. This created a large increase in medical waiver requests and caused applicant waiting time for waiver adjudications to increase significantly. Late last fall, AFRS added 63 medical administrator contractors to help gather and screen supporting medical records, increasing efficiency and allowing for recruiters to focus more on face-to-face engagements with applicants. Additionally, we bolstered recruiter training and made adjustments to goaling methodologies. The Department of the Air Force has not changed its high standards nor compromised the caliber of our applicants. Rather, we have expanded the opportunities for qualified individuals to join our ranks. We have partnered with military-affiliated organizations to leverage their presence and manpower in communities across the country. The Air and Space Force Association, or AFA, has become one of our trailblazing partners in this effort, as this is an exciting opportunity to build our recruiting network beyond our traditional recruiting force. This year, we have also launched a similar partnership with Civil Air Patrol, which has the potential to expand our reach and add another 30,000 members to
Civil Air Patrol, I think, is like their active reserves, the Air Force reserves, I think. But they touch when you touch there on the Genesis. That's how they can look at your medical history. Where maybe when our parents or, like when my brother went in, they didn't have that. They have had Genesis for a little while now, but now it's going in deeper, which is why he was saying they need more medical waivers and stuff like that. I think it just makes it so more people are going into the pipeline, whereas when they had to take people physically to MEPS, they probably had less people. Because they, can only take so many people at a time. Whereas now it's like the recruiter's like, hey, let me just send in the thing. Let me send in. It's just sending an email. They're sending a packet, and it's just a dump instead of having to get physical people to clear their schedule, clear their time, get a ride, get actual people to MEPS. Now it's just emailing a packet, which that's way more convenient for people on our side and recruiters. But it overloaded MEPS, which is kind of what he was talking about. But here in this, they talk about how they streamlined it and the process ended up being good.
Outreach network. As we celebrate the success, we must also turn and focus to the future. FY25 brings with it an increased enlisted
fiscal year is what FY.
32,500 for the regular Air Force, and a Space Force increase by 30%. Additionally, Air Force Reserve requirements will also increase from 7,200 to 7,600. Achieving these goals depends on our ongoing commitment to investing in both our recruiters and the resources they need to succeed. The Department of the Air Force allocated more than 370 additional recruiting personnel based on manpower studies, RAND reports, and the AETCA 9 analysis. Air Force recruiting is in the process of rapidly onboarding.
I think I can link this so you can watch it later.
In and around the United States. As we move forward, these goals set before us in FY25 are ambitious, but we believe they are achievable. Make no mistake, we cannot take our hand off the throttle, and we must remain laser focused on mission. In the end, deterring or winning future conflicts in a time of consequence starts right here at home by winning in the competition space for talent. With continued innovation,
I'm gonna get a drink. Be right back.
Relentless commitment to our excellence, we will bring in the talent of our Air Force, be that REGAF, Guard, or Reserve, as well as the Space Force, and what they need to meet the challenges for tomorrow. Thank you. I welcome your questions. Aim high and Semper Supra. Sir.
Awesome. Good afternoon. I'm Rear Admiral Jim Waters. I'm Commander Navy Recruiting Commander.
Yeah, Navy.
It's a privilege to be here this afternoon to talk about the Navy's recruiting efforts over the last year and to outline some of our goals for fiscal year 2025. We know that to remain the most capable Navy in the world, we must recruit the best of America.
Tell them.
building pathways for all qualified Americans who choose to serve.
This is expert pistol is what the E is, and then this is the rifle. I only know because the pistol has 2 stripes, and then the rifle one has a 3rd one. But this, he's like expert marksman, pretty cool. I don't know all these other ones. I'm sure I think this is a surface warfare, but like an officer one. And then I don't know what that is. I don't know. I am trying to learn. Like, I need to know what these things mean. Like, some of them mean like captain, admiral, and yeah. It's really important to know like what these means.
Our nation. Fiscal year 2024 was a year of significant achievement for Navy recruiting due to the hard work and dedication of our recruiters, our leadership, and support teams across the country. Together, we contracted 40,978 active component enlisted sailors into the Navy against a goal of 40,600. This was no small feat, and I want to take a moment to recognize the frontline Navy recruiters who worked tirelessly to meet our goals. They did an outstanding job navigating a highly competitive recruiting market. And their efforts are a testament to the Navy's commitment to building a talented, mission-ready force. This success didn't happen by chance. It was the result of strategic changes we made to adapt to the current recruiting environment. Key adjustments included increasing the number of recruiters by approximately 800 and removing bureaucratic barriers to rapid decision-making and contracting. When we take care of our recruiters, they take care of the mission. Because we recognize that today's recruits are engaging online more than ever, we ramped up our presence on social media.
Obviously, they need to adjust for the times. So when I was in high school, we weren't doing stuff online hardcore or on our cell phones. You know, when I was in high school, I didn't have a cell phone. It was a lot of calling landlines. Like our house had a landline and an answering machine, and they have to leave a message, and you have to follow up with them. You know, and your parents have to drop you off, or they would come to your house and visit you. Things are not like that anymore, and they need to adjust for the times.
Expanded our esports efforts and employed creative talent in our award-winning Sailor Versus YouTube series. Additionally, our marketing and advertising efforts focused on real, authentic stories from actual sailors.
Yeah, they did do one. For example, they had a guy, what's his name? They have this white dude on YouTube who speaks a bunch of different languages. He's really good at languages. And I'm sure if I showed him to you, you guys would know who he is. He's pretty popular. And he like learns a language and then goes to that country or that town. You know, like if he goes to New York and goes to like Chinatown, he'll start speaking Chinese to people and everybody's surprised. He went up against 2 Navy linguists in like an escape room, and they had to solve riddles in multiple foreign languages. I won't spoil it for who won, but he went up against 2 Navy linguists to get out of an escape room, and they timed it to see who could do it the fastest. So they did stuff like that. That was really entertaining. And probably attracted a lot of people to the Navy because of it, to be honest. I think stuff like that is really good. I think the Army gave The Rock like a couple $1 million or something, and he made like no ads. So that is not good.
Addressing perceived barriers, concerns, and key motivators related to joining. Another major initiative in fiscal year 2024 for the Navy was the establishment of our Recruiting Operations Center, or ROC, which has proven invaluable.
Different rock.
ROC consolidated
A different rock.
capacity into a single source of truth to continuously assess and improve recruiting practices.
So they actually have some videos on the Navy's YouTube channel showing this guy talking to. They're in like a it looks like those top secret CIA control rooms that they have in like movies, where there's like giant screens on the wall and there's like different computers are hooked up with different graphs and metrics. It's pretty sick, and they have like different style graphs to show you different visualizations of like recruiting problems in every recruiting station. So they have like westerns, like Southwest, so like California South and Phoenix will be in a group versus East, Northwest. It's really cool. If you're into this kind of stuff, they have all different kinds of graphs to help your brain like picture what's actually happening.
This emphasis on shared learning and best practices is helping our recruiters meet their goals. And it will continue to play a key role as we move forward in 2025. Finally, we streamlined our medical waiver process to make well-informed decisions in 0 to 3 days, giving recruiters and candidates the opportunity to act quickly. As we turn our attention to fiscal year 2025, I want to note that while we're coming off a successful year, we are not taking our foot off the gas. Our goal for fiscal year 2025 is to build on our momentum and recruit another 40,600 new sailors, which reflects the growing needs of the Navy as we continue to modernize.
Also, if you guys are in here, don't forget to like the stream. Help me out.
The road ahead won't be without obstacles, as my
hit a like on the old stream so other people can watch it too with us.
Military service is one of many options available to young Americans today.
See, he said it better than the first lady did. He was saying military is one option of many. He actually has a better perspective on it, I think, than the Department of Defense doctor lady did. That's my opinion.
We'll continue to refine our message,
See?
positioning the Navy as a premier opportunity for professional development, education, and service to the nation. And while mindful of evolving societal expectations, especially with regards to work-life balance and career flexibility, we will continue to highlight the opportunity for each young American to forge a better version of themselves in America's Navy.
Now, you guys, I don't understand career flexibility means in the military. So you take an ASVAB and they offer you jobs based on what's available, meaning what the military needs at that given time when you're in MEPS. You can't just change your job anytime you want. So I don't know what he means by career flexibility. I'm sure if I asked him in person, hey, what do you mean by career flexibility? He would have some kind of answer made up. I don't know if I would accept it or believe it, but if you watch enough of this and you do enough research, you guys know you can't just change your job whenever you want. You might be able to cross-rate maybe when you re-enlist or something. It's very rare. Not a lot of people do it, and they don't just do it for everybody. You know, they don't just do it for everybody. So, and if you're cross-rating into something that's not even close to relevant to what you were doing, and they're going to have to retrain you all over again, that's probably going to be even more rare. So, I don't know what he meant by that. If you think you know what he meant, please let me know in the comments.
In the end, I'm optimistic about the year ahead. Fiscal year 2025 will bring its own set of challenges, but with the strategies we've implemented and the talent we have in place, I'm confident we will meet our goals. Thank you.
I actually think with the way that this is after the election and Donald Trump is president, and he's his record shows that he's very good at ending conflict. I think the numbers in the military will go up. The less people think they have a chance of going into battle, there's always a chance. But if the perception is that there's no active conflicts, I think more people will want to join. There's always a chance of that's what you're an active war fighting job. Like that's your job, is to support the war, to fight the enemies of America and America's allies. That is the mission. So even if we're in peace times, your job is to be ready to go into that. But if people are like, oh, this president is like really good at ending wars and not getting into conflicts and things like that, they probably might be more incentivized to join than if they were afraid or didn't believe or agree with war. See what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see their numbers with Trump as president.
Good afternoon.
This is heavy.
This is heavy.
Apartments. I'm impressed with it. This is
I'm impressed with it.
skin.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow military leaders, it's a pleasure to appear
Turn up
before
his
you
mic.
today to provide an update of your Marine Corps' recruiting efforts. Your Marine Corps exists to fight and win our nation's battles, and our performance in recruiting speaks for itself. Our combat heritage is embedded within Marine Corps Recruiting Command's DNA, and we share the same fierce competitive spirit to win as those Marines who've gone before us, no matter the challenge. Over the past several decades, the Marine Corps has made institutional investments into recruiting to ensure that we are resourced with the very best commanders and Marine recruiters to accomplish this demanding mission. This has been and will continue to be our greatest source of strength as we face what some refer to as the most challenging recruiting environment since the inception of the all-volunteer force.
I think that's because of
Marine recruiters
politics.
will
Be
continue to
100%.
meet the expectations of our nation.
Oh, also too, in the military, they force you to take vaccines and stuff that you might not agree with. And the Army kicked out a bunch of people who didn't want to take the COVID shot because of religious exemption. And then after the fact, the Army sent out a bunch of letters saying, "Hey, sorry, we were wrong. Will you please come back?" They sent out like 18,000 letters to try to get people to come back, and most of those people said no, and they didn't come back. I think like less than 50 people showed interest in coming back, and they had to correct all those people's like dishonorable discharges to honorable. That's another thing. When you go in the military, you got to take shots and vaccines that you might not agree with. When my brother was in, it was the same thing. I think it was bird flu at the time. Bird flu or swine flu or something. They were given shots for, and they said one of the possible side effects is you won't be able to have kids. And my brother didn't want to take the shot, so I think he got a religious exemption from that.
Holding true to our warriors' ethos and our core values of honor, courage, and commitment. We compete for the very best young people in every zip code in our nation. And our Marine recruiters are actively attracting and inspiring young men and women of character eager to take up the challenge of earning the title Marine. While we welcome all qualified and motivated applicants to take up this challenge, we refuse to lower our standards. We understand that to meet the high, almost mystical expectations that the American people have of their Marine Corps, that we must continue to attract and inspire young men and women of character who desire to live a life of significance by becoming a U.S. Marine. Despite our success in fiscal year 24, we continue to face the same challenges as the other services. Historic lows in qualification rates, low propensity to serve, a challenging labor market, and a fragmented media landscape continue to have a compounding effect on the recruiting.
See if you have some of this stuff, you have to really pay attention to what he's saying. So low propensity, meaning people who are not interested or are not looking to join. And then fragmented media. So he's thinking of like when you throw a frag grenade and little shrapnel goes out and destroys the target. I have to be careful what I say because it's on YouTube. So media doesn't really shine military in a positive light. Media doesn't really tell the truth much about anything anyways. So, that good on him to recognize that that's something that they're actually combating.
Environment. To combat these conditions, Marine Corps Recruiting Command will do what Marines have always done: innovate, adapt, and win. As such, we are focused on my priorities of 1. Training the most proficient recruiting force in the world. 2. Manning all of our recruiting sectors. 3. Securing resources to support our people in the field. And 4. Adapting our geographic laydown to reflect the changing demographics of our nation.
Yeah, so they got to make sure they got recruiting places everywhere that people want to join. Long story short.
And we're moving out these organizational changes. As we attack into fiscal year 25,
That means
we
not
will
slowly.
continue to
They're
reinforce
rushing
and
it.
expand the trust of the American people in their Marine Corps, positively shape the future of the Marine Corps, and enable our Marines and their families to be happy and successful. I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you, Semper Fidelis.
Thank you very much to all of our panelists today. We'll start with Associated Press, Lita Belder.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I don't know, Dr. Helen, if you can answer this or if this is each one of you needs to answer. I'm wondering about bonuses. Can you tell me how much overall
Bonuses are important to a lot of people,
the
so
amount of money it's providing to the services for bonuses and other sort of monetary enhancements for the services to provide for recruiting last year over this year, if you can give sort of overall or if the services need to provide their own. And then Admiral Waters, for the Navy, can you say whether or how closely the Navy is tracking the Cat 4s that you've been bringing in over the last year or so to determine whether or not there are any increased disciplinary or other issues with that sort of larger?
So they're doing some inside lingo here. So Category 4 is for individuals who score between the 10th and 30th percentile on the ASVAB.
Chunk that the Navy's been bringing in that the other services have not done.
So saying that others, so I think the Navy's taking people with lower scores, I believe, is what she just said. Lower ASVAB scores.
We tend to think that our spirit is in our body. That's actually not correct. Your body is...
There's some jobs, you guys, in the military that don't require you to have even a high school education. You just have to be a hard worker, be able to speak and understand English, like read and write. Because pushing a broom doesn't mean you have to know how to do math. Scraping paint and putting on new paint, like regular ship maintenance, you just have to be able to read a clock and know how to wake up, take care of yourself, feed yourself. You know, you just have to be able to be a strong worker, have a strong back. You don't have to be super smart for that, so it's not fair that they would discriminate against those people.
Is in your spirit. People always tell me.
So I'll actually open it up to the services to talk to on bonus incentives.
Yeah, ma'am, I don't have the exact amount, but this is one of the areas that in terms of transformation, should we do the same thing that we've been doing every year? So we're looking at a potential pilot to weigh bonus versus station of choice. And what we're seeing is applicants are moving towards the station of choice. With that has garnered savings. I don't have the final amount, but it is sizable when you look at the
That's pretty cool if the Army is letting people choose where they want to be stationed and they're actually sending them there. And that's saving the government money, not having to bribe people to take jobs in places where they don't want to go. Instead, they're just putting them in places where they want to go. That's awesome. They're saving money and they're making people happy. Pfft. That's a win-win. I would be proud of that if I was an Army person.
the total number of applicants, and let's say it could be an estimate from $3,000 to $5,000 or $6,000 each. So that's one of the areas that when we look at transformation, how can we do something different? And I think it's yielding. I mean, what we're seeing is applicants prefer duty station of choice.
That makes sense, and that's believable.
And I'll follow up with my colleague. We can get you the specific number. What we do, though, is that the incentive options that are there, they do and can flex throughout the requirements from the Air Force, specifically AFSCs or Air Force Specialty Codes. And so, what we have seen is a shift in my time, a little over a year, focusing on some of the most high demand and low density jobs that are out there, specifically in our special warfare atmosphere for those
For Sears,
specialty codes.
PJs.
And so, in many cases, several AFSCs are all eligible for a bonus, but the structure of this is always flexing based on the.
So he's not talking about bonuses increasing or decreasing. He's talking about stuff that's kind of general knowledge, saying like the bonus that they have moves around to get people into jobs that they need. That's kind of a no-brainer.
The highest.
The bonus
most
for the
important
job
vacancies
changes all the
right
time.
now for us, that is special warfare and a lot of our open and mechanical AFSCs, man.
Yeah, so like the other services, we look at each rating to specifically allocate enlistment bonuses. But the short answer to your primary question is there hasn't been a significant change in the bonus amount going from 24 to 25. And with respect to the Cat 4s, we're tracking that closely. We've seen no increase in attrition, no increase in disciplinary actions, and I attribute that mainly to the fact that every recruit that comes into the Navy meets the standard for the rating to which they are assigned. So the Cat 4 is from the AFQT, which is 4 parts of the ASVAB. Each rating has a combination of scores from those 4 plus the other 6 parts of the ASVAB, and that has never changed. So a Cat 4 sailor that comes in with an AFQT of 22 that's going to go be a machinist mate meets all of the line requirements for that machinist mate and always has. We have not changed that.
And ma'am, the Marine Corps does not rely on bonuses to attract and inspire young men and women of character to take the challenge of becoming Marines. That said, we do have some new incentives.
They don't give you bonuses, y'all. The Marines does not give a dang. Your bonus is you get that globe and anchor. That is your bonus when you join the Marines. You get that globe and anchor, and you are able to call yourself a Marine. That's what attracts people to them. That globe and anchor on his collar.
Bonuses for electronic maintenance, cyber and crypto operations, and information and communication tech career fields. But again, we don't rely primarily on bonuses.
Yeah, they'll go in there and be like, hey, do I get a bonus? And the recruiter's going to be like, nope.
Thank you all. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks so much for doing this. I have a quick follow-up. I just wanted to make sure I have this correct. So the Army and the Air Force Space Force is increasing their goal for 2025. Navy's staying the same. And then I didn't hear Major General Bowers what the Marine Corps was doing for 2025.
Our goal is increasing by approximately 1,800 Marines.
Okay, 1,800 Marines. Okay, great, thanks. And then separately, Dr. Helen, you mentioned declining eligibility, and I was just wondering if there were any specific efforts.
Come on, cameraman, what are you doing?
And specifically in terms of previous drug use, I know there was a provision in the 25 NDAA that would stop the services from requiring someone to test for marijuana before enlisting. You know, what is the
Marijuana is legal in a lot of states, guys. Not illegal. People are not thinking, oh, if I smoke marijuana, it's going to ruin me having a government job. It's legal. So this lady has a good question.
DOD think about that provision, if you could provide any more guidance?
If you smoke marijuana, I've never smoked marijuana. This is what I would say to the recruiter. First off, if you're trying to join the military, stop smoking right now. Stop. Don't hang out with people that smoke. You stop. Stop drinking. Stop smoking. Stop doing drugs. Just stop now. I would tell the people at MEPS, I have never smoked. I've never done any drugs because I've always known I was going to join the military, so I never touched the stuff.
Certainly. Yeah, when we look at eligibility, based on estimates, about 23% of youth are eligible to enlist without a waiver. That's for any of our various standards, whether they're medical, dependents, moral. So with regards to medical standards, it's something the department continually looks at.
So moral is going to be like criminal record, drug use. It's only the drug use one, you guys, is only what you tell them. If you've never been caught or something, you know, like you've never been in trouble for drug use, they only know what you tell them.
And looks at advances in medical science, looking at the data for those who've come in with waivers to see if we can refine the medical standards. We've also instituted a medical accessions records pilot where for, at this point now, 51 conditions that used to have, most of them had any history of a particular condition. We're testing the feasibility of reducing the time frame for those conditions. ADHD has actually been...
So, for example, If you took a certain medicine but you've been off it for 6 months, then it's okay. Or if you had childhood asthma and you didn't take any asthma medicine after 13 years old, you're okay. So that's what she's talking about there.
One where we've seen a lot of individuals come in under that MARP condition. We've also seen great success as we talked through the Future Sailor, Future Soldier Prep course to invest in those individuals with potential to get them to, whether it be the body composition or some of our academic standards as well. With regards to drugs, certainly.
So they're helping people
marijuana is
who aren't
still
fit and who need
prohibited
help
for
studying.
federal employees, and we'll have to continue.
That's going to depend on your recruiting office too. Not every recruiting office is going to try. So if you're in an area where a lot of people are going to the recruiting office, if you live in a very patriotic town and there's a lot of people your age getting out of school same time as you and they're all going to the recruiter and joining, you're probably not going to get as much attention as if you live in a place where they're hurting for recruits and the recruiter needs people to bump up their numbers.
Follow federal law.
Let's go to Haley.
Thank you. Thank you all for doing this. Dr. Helen, you mentioned that for the first time since the metric has been tracked that there is a percentage of youth who are not even considering military service. Can you say for how long has that metric been tracked?
I'll have to go back and double check, but I think it's mid 2010 or so.
Okay, so roughly like at least a decade.
At least a decade, yes, yes.
And then I apologize, I don't remember who mentioned MHS Genesis, but that was I'm curious kind of what you've seen as the trend of that. I know that was a pretty significant issue for a lot of recruiters and a lot of recruits of just the challenges that MHS Genesis presented. So can you kind of talk through, are you still seeing those challenges? Are those being addressed? What does that sort of look like? And now that we've kind of gotten further away from its implementation?
Sure. So yes, when we rolled out MSH Genesis, which is the department's electronic health record system, and when we rolled it out across MEPCOM, that provided us access to the verifiable health records, which meant we now have a lot of information on our young adults to assess them against our medical standards. That did increase our workloads given the sheer volume of information that was available through those health information exchange. But we've been able to implement technical solutions. One of the key ones was instituting natural language processing to go through and pick out key elements that have helped us reduce the time frame. We also overhauled recently our whole pre-screen process. So that's the process where we're reviewing the documentation and then giving them the approval, our applicants, to go to the various MEPS. Through our overhaul of the process, now 80% of our applicants are cleared to go to MEPS within 48 hours of starting that pre-screen process. And then for those 20% that have more complex medical histories, we've reduced the time frame where it used to be about 29 days on average to get them to Florida MEPS. We're now down to below 7.
So I can attest to this. I had to go through this. I'm 40 something years old, so I have a longer medical history than most 17 and 18-year-olds. Okay, I'm more than 2 times, been alive 2 times longer than them. So it did take a little longer than 7 business days, like she was saying, but that's probably just an average number. But yeah, it didn't take me a whole month to go through the pre-screen, which is cool. So I also learned too that the people at MEPS aren't looking at every single page of your medical history. They might just, like they say, they're trying to use they're probably using AI to look for certain terms or certain prescriptions. I think is probably more what they're looking for, like SSRIs, like antidepressants and psych meds and things like that, to question you on. And if those key terms don't pop up, then I think they just approve you for the pre-screen. Then you go to MEPS and they basically interrogate you, and you have to say the same things you said to your recruiter. If you say anything, give too much information, they're going to ask you to provide more information on it. They're not going to research it themselves. They're just going to ask you, and then if you give up more information, they're going to say, okay, we need you to go to your doctor, provide this information, or just disqualify you.
So we're continuing to improve our processes, and with MXH Genesis, we're able to leverage technology more to automate more processes, but we've also brought in more staff as well and working to increase the staff to address the workload.
This is the dirty little secret of adult film stars. I thought it would
That's
just be
inappropriate.
but my husband.
That's inappropriate. Thanks,
Let's go to
YouTube.
the phones here. Heather Mongilio, USNI News.
Great, thank you so much. So I guess one of my biggest questions that I'm trying to still figure out when talking about recruiting, is it that there are a lot more people who are propense to serve right now, or is it that the different services have found that they were having roadblocks preventing people from enlisting?
It's a good question.
Are there just more people interested? That's who you tapped into, or was there a problem with the way the services were recruiting that created the services not meeting the goals the past 2 years?
I can jump in and then turn it over. But when we look at on aggregate our measure of propensity, which is a snapshot in time when someone takes a survey, we have seen stability in a low metric for propensity. We're about 10% of young adults are motivated to serve. That has not changed over the past few years. What we are
Which kind of goes against what she was saying. She was saying that less people want to join because there's less veterans and stuff around to motivate them. That's why some of the stuff she says is kind of, I'm not buying anything she says. I believe when she says that they're at 10%, like when they give the numbers. But that's crazy to think, guys, that only 10% of the people who are like recruit age, the whatever they said, the 17 to 20, whatever the number, only 10% of that population is people who like think about joining or who consider it small.
growing at an individual level, right? When our recruiters get out there and make contact with the individual, they can grow propensity one person at a time. That's where I believe we are seeing success is the operations and what we've been able to get back into communities where when you think about what happened during COVID, we had to pull out of communities for almost 2 years. It takes time to get back in and develop those relationships again. But again, I think this is what we're seeing is a testament to our recruiting commanders and the hard work of our recruiters.
Yeah, Dr. Hill, if I could add, you're absolutely right. I think not having our superstar recruiters in high schools across the nation for some 2.5 years has certainly had an impact in really bringing awareness. And the face-to-face interaction really helps to fill knowledge gaps about the, in our case, the United States Army. And so that awareness is also impacts, their desire to say, well, should I consider service? We have a declining veteran population. I grew up and with a family of many veterans in Wisconsin who either served in World War II or Korea or Vietnam, and they were all there to answer my questions. Now with the decreasing veteran population, that is also really impacting, I think, that knowledge base and propensity of those up and coming qualified military servicemen and women.
And if I could add, I think with Dr. Helen's comments on 30 years ago, if you ask somebody if they had a family member, 45 hands would go up, and if you ask now, it's somewhere between 10 and 12 or so. And so, and it is what it is. But what I would say is one of the focus areas and for the Air Force and Space Force is building back that familiarity, because over time that created this lack of familiarity, and then you have these exacerbating incidents like COVID that materialize. But this has been a focus point, and I know that we all spoke to this last fall as well as all of the services are really focusing on that lack of familiarity and getting back out into the public and getting it whether it's one person, one touch point at a time that General Davis said, or expanding social media campaigns to meet this generation where they are. But I think that for the Air Force aspect of it, it is a deliberate line of effort for us is expanding that total force outreach or recruiting network to be able to build back that familiarity into America. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's important in this to not equate low propensity with high anti-military sentiment. It's really an expression of lack of knowledge, lack of familiarity, to play off my
I don't know if I agree with that assessment.
And I think to answer a little bit more of the question that was asked to say this reflects an increased number of recruiters. I mean, the Navy added recruiters, other services added recruiters, and it also reflects the recognition that we need to increase propensity one American at a time. It's that prospecting work that's done by recruiters to go out not only in the schools but at career fairs and making phone calls, social media connections, all of it to build that human to human.
There's some stuff they have too, which it doesn't really help me because I'm older. Because nobody my age wants to go in the military because everybody has good jobs, has their family, they're comfortable. You know, they don't want to go get yelled at and be bossed around by someone probably 20 years old. But younger people, if you go in with a friend, this is what I would do if I was two young kids, right? So say you have two friends, one of them is smarter than the other. The smarter friend should say that they are coming in because of the less smart friend. So they're helping their friend get a promotion, like a pay increase, right in boot camp. If that person takes a high demand job, the smart person. So if the smart person takes a job like nuclear or something like that, just for an example, they're already automatically going to be getting paid more because they're smarter, and then they help their friend get a bump in pay as well.
Relationship that leads
That's for the Navy. I don't know about the other ones.
Recognizing the value of service and then making a commitment to it.
Let's go back out to the phone here. Jeff Shogel, Task and Purpose.
Thank you. A question for Dr. Helland about the Medical Accession Records Pilot, or MARP. So as you mentioned, it's now up to about 51 conditions. Do you foresee this as the start of something that becomes permanent, a change to military accession regulations that makes it easier for people with previously disqualifying medical conditions to enlist without having to get a waiver first? Thank you.
So the whole intent of this is, right, a pilot to test the feasibility if we can shorten these time frames, and with the data then to make that decision to then modify our medical accession standards. So that's where we're in right now, that pilot phase. Largely we are seeing positive results, and we'll continue to monitor the data, so ultimately again to make that decision about these conditions on whether we can build them into our standards instruction.
Let's go out to Steve Benyon, Military Times.
Hey, appreciate y'all for doing this. Quick question for the services minus the Army and Navy. Those services have seen a lot of good early data on the prep courses. Nearly a quarter of the Army recruits at FY24 did one of those prep courses. Is the Air Force or Marine Corps looking into establishing their version of that? And Space Force as well. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question. From a holistic perspective across the Department of the Air Force for recruiting,
if you just joined, say what's up in the chat. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments, and we'll answer it. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to like the video.
We do have a very deliberate development program for them. So as folks identify or are interested in the Special Warfare Air Force Specialty Codes, there is a very deliberate development program, both from a mental resiliency standpoint, but also a very in-depth training, physical training regimen to prepare them for that pipeline.
Yes, in the Marine Corps, we are not looking at starting a special program for future Marines. We have the delayed entry program that's working very well for us.
Number one, how cold is this room for you guys right now? I am freezing. I just want to follow up on Steve's question here because it's almost related exactly to that. But I'm going to direct my question to the Army and the Navy. about the future sailor, future soldier prep course. Can you confirm the numbers of how many of your recruits this year actually participated in that? And having heard the other two services, why did the Navy choose to follow what the Army program was? Was it based on their success, or what did you find that yes, we did have a base that really needed, that was of motivated individuals who wanted to join the Navy, who just needed that extra incentive.
So this guy's asking about fat people, because the Army has like a fat camp program that I guess is working pretty good for them. They're helping people get in shape before they go to boot camp, and the Navy started doing it too. So that's what this guy's asking. Why did the Navy do it? Why did they copy? Is it because the Army's doing well? And what's your success with it?
Yeah. So thanks for that. And the I don't have the exact numbers in front of me for how many went through for the two Future Sailor Prep Course, physical or academic. But the reason that we followed the Army on this was because of their great success. I mean, General Davis talked about the percentages. It was a wonderful example. And what we found, especially for on the side of Future Sailor Prep Course physical, which allows us to bring some folks in that are above body fat standards by up to 6% and have them work with our recruit division commanders. We had a lot of highly qualified, like nuclear trained operator qualified individuals that couldn't quite get there. And so when we saw that the Army was using that,
So they had smart people that weren't in shape.
Successful on getting folks.
So it was worth it to them to help those people get in shape.
With a few that have tapped out because they just, this isn't for me. But anybody that was working toward that body fat standard has made it and is in recruit training. And what we found is those sailors are committed in a way that's above and beyond the average that's in recruit training command, and many of them have gone on to leadership positions within their recruit divisions. Future Sailor Prep Course Academic allowed us to provide an opportunity for young Americans to expand the opportunities within the Navy. As I mentioned before, every rating, all of them are based on individual line scores. And so by giving them some more academic training and recognition that much of America had challenges with COVID in schools to increase that opportunity.
The video's almost over, guys.
To have more choice, and we can fill other ratings that we wouldn't have otherwise. That's why we followed the Army.
Yeah, if I could answer the data. So Future Soldier Prep Course for us is about 20, 21 months. Total number of graduates, we're approaching over 28,188. Now that's just more than Compo 1. So now when I talk about that number, that's active duty Army, Reserve, and National Guard. So they all benefit in the total Army with the Future Soldier Prep Course. For us, from last year's mission, 55,000, over 10,326 graduated the course. We already have another pending, shipped already to Fort Jackson, about 1,500, and another 3,000 over the next quarter, so into the new year. So we are filling all of the seats because of demand. So let me go back to why we're seeing the success. When we saw during COVID the drop in tests ASVAB by like 10 points, that's the segment, and it wasn't recruiting command, it was actually our training and doctrine command, Lieutenant Gervais and team that said, hey, the Army's done this before, we saw this drop, why don't we go and try to invest in that segment? And half of them were within 5 points of a fully meeting 3 Bravo or Alpha, which allows to open up many job opportunities. And so that's what we invested in, and that's why we see this transformational success. Some of them are testing out within 2 weeks, and some of them are testing to the highest category. So now every job in the Army is now open to them, just from classroom, not from an outside agency. Of course, the camaraderie, like students, the physical fitness, academic training every day I think, is building this great cohort of future soldiers. Now, I recommend everybody take an opportunity and visit the Future Soldier Prep Corps if they haven't down at Fort Jackson. It will be an eye opener. I've been many times. It is. I love it. It's a great course.
My follow-up is: do you plan to now expand the course as it continues to get 1 in 5 so new recruits in?
Yes.
And also, what do you attribute the rise in age to? You said that the average age now is 22 years.
Yeah. So I don't know in terms of expansion, because we want to go after that labor market or expanded market. The segment that is,
So they're saying that they're getting like 22 and a half year olds is the average age. Now the age is up higher because now they're going after not necessarily people in high school, but people like, so you see, I'm 40 and they're recruiting me. So they're going for the labor market now, not just kids in school, college kids, high school kids.
Within 10 points, or that whatever, 21 to 30, we think they can test up. So I don't think we're going to expand that based on what we're seeing. Now let's go to this expanded market. What I'm hearing from recruiters is that many are graduating high school and are going on to college, and maybe that's not for them. And what our recruiters are doing is really beginning to focus on that segment of the population, and it's really starting to pay off. Why are they focusing on that? Because when we were short in terms of what we're bringing in to the Army, we needed to fill training seats so basic training battalions can be filled, and we weren't filling them. So our recruiters weren't going to the high schools because they won't ship until the next year. So they're going directly into the labor market, and that has really blossomed for us over the last 2 years. And I want to say to our recruiters, job well done. Let's stay at it. And the current delayed entry program, I think the average age is about 22 years and 5 months. So I see it going up. And the high school market, as we see the student population, let's say, decline over time, we're going to have to expand it into the labor market or the some college or college market.
One more. Yes, sir.
John Seward, notes.
Your health is your biggest asset.
What do you guys think so far? You guys learning something?
The services.
I know I am.
What are you all seeing in terms of retention after initial contract? And then a similar sort of related follow-up for all services, which is in terms of finding qualified applicants, where does physical fitness rank as far as challenge?
So as far as the Future Sailor prep course, the physical fitness part of it has been, it is something of a challenge to make sure that we've got the right fitness for folks joining the Navy, but it's not one that's insurmountable. And the physical part, the Future Sailor Prep Course physical, has given us the ability to really get after that, especially in our ratings that require a much higher end ASVAB score to get after.
So for the Army, our Army Research Institute is tracking every graduate. So you need more time. It's about 20 months. So we do have a large number of graduates, and what we want to do longitudinally is really find out from an academic perspective if that it impacts retention as they go on to their first duty station. For the fitness, that's a really good question, and we're thinking through that because we know that in the Future Soldier Prep course, they lose about 1.2% body fat a week, and what we want to make sure is we keep tracking them as they move on to their first duty station and figure out in terms of retention. So are they continuing on this right path, or are they going down, or are they going up? So that's what we're tracking, because we really need that data to figure out, hey, is this so transformational that we need to look at, you know, other expansion opportunities?
Yeah, so I think some of that's because the length of time that we've been running the Future Sailor Prep course hasn't been significant enough to really get after that. But I can say that our attrition rates in boot camp and A school for this cadre, both physical and academic, are on par. There's no change for that group relative to the rest of them.
Yeah. Where does physical fitness rank in terms of
So for the Air Force, as mentioned in my opening statement, that over the past year, we adjusted. The Air Force actually had a higher than DoD standard, and we aligned with the DoD standard. Since then, we've brought in over 5,800 airmen under that DoD standard. We've had one washout of BMT for physical fitness reasons, and so I think it's, you know, from that standpoint. I will tell you, we get the question a lot. Hey, have you changed the standard? Well, the PFT standards have not changed for our basic training, and that small policy adjustment offered 5,800 very high quality folks to come into our service, and we lost one person for it. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for the question. So Marine Corps recruit training is 13 weeks long. It is the toughest, most physically demanding of the entry-level training of the services. So physical fitness is therefore very important to us. This is the value of our delayed entry program. We like every applicant to spend at least 30 days in the delayed entry program so we can work with them, they can work with their recruiter, and we can get them in good physical shape to improve their chances of success at recruit training. The delayed entry program has an additional benefit for us. While these kids are getting in good shape working with their recruiters, they bring their friends along. And 25% of our contracts, 1 out of 4, comes from a referral from the delayed entry program. Our Marines love the opportunity to have a delayed entry program to work with their own little squad or platoon of recruits. And this gets to propensity. You know, we like to replace propensity with inspired. So if only 9% of the population is propensed, 91% is just waiting to be inspired. What a golden opportunity. So this is the value of our delayed entry program.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Really want to say thank you to our distinguished defense leaders, panelists today, as they talk about our efforts to improve our recruiting and service goals for fiscal year 25. Thank you very much. This concludes our press briefing.
Yeah, very interesting. I just found this video by chance because I'm always looking up Navy boot camp stuff and recruiting stuff, and you know, I sent this video to my recruiter just because not a lot of recruiters have a lot of this information. Everywhere's different, you guys. You're going to find some recruiting stations that are going to have more information than others, and they get more one-on-one training and handling by their superiors, and some I think are probably just kind of left alone. Yeah. So looks like we don't have any more questions. It is 2:45 p.m. here in Southern California. I think I'm going to end the stream. I've been trying to keep my steps going. I've been doing like 12,000 to like 18,000 steps a day, just walking around the apartment complex to try to keep the weight down. I think I've lost like 10 pounds in the last couple weeks. Most of it is just water weight and stuff, you know, because you're not moving. But I'm not going to the gym. I just do push-ups and walk right now, and then when I get into the late entry program, which I think is a month or two, then I'm going to be stepping that up. All right, guys, thanks for joining. Love y'all. Peace.